2 days from now, Ethereum will be launching one of their most critical updates. Should you buy now? Is Uncle Sam actually going to increase their tax rates on capital gains and dividends? Bitcoin just touched the 30K levels. Is this the end? And lastly, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper on what happened yesterday. So let's find out. Welcome back everyone, I'm your host, the guy that loves Bitcoin, and today we have some very important and interesting crypto and stock market news. So we head on to CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin's hovering at about 32,000 at the moment, but this morning it dropped to about $29,000 per Bitcoin. And whoever bought at this level, congratulations, you got a really great deal. And I'm gonna explain more about the technicals later on throughout the video. Right now, I'm pretty confident to say that this is indeed the bottom. However, nothing's guaranteed and this video could age really badly. And I'll dive deeper into this later on. So if we look at the stock market today, there's nothing really crazy going on. I believe GME is up a little bit. I did look at the price earlier today. But yeah, the stock market has been a little quiet, which is why I'm a lot more focused on crypto at the moment. However, things can change. But before we begin, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see my videos every single week. And if you haven't already, please smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. And without further ado, let's dive in. So the main article that I really want to talk about today is Ethereum, because I've been doing a lot of research on the weekend and I actually found out that they're going to be implementing a very important upgrade in the next 2 days. So Ethereum's actually set to launch this upgrade called the EIP 1559 Testnet block set. And to quickly sum it up for everyone, essentially whenever a transaction is made on the Ethereum blockchain, some of that Ethereum will get thrown to the void forever, meaning they're going to burn a little bit of Ethereum every time a transaction happens. That will be very tiny. I believe it will be really minuscule, so you can't even notice it. And the reason why this is very important because Ethereum doesn't have a deflationary policy like Bitcoin, but with this upgrade, it's going to give Ethereum a deflationary policy. So over time, Ethereum will be very valuable. And I also read this somewhere, but apparently if this was already implemented at the beginning of Ethereum, there would have been about 1 million Ethereum tokens already burned. And again, this is all simple supply and demand. The less supply, the more demand, which increases the price. In the end, I'm seeing Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of copying each other's best features. Bitcoin just recently announced the Taproot upgrade that will come in November, and they're going to actually initiate smart contracts. And that's what Ethereum had an upper hand on Bitcoin. But now we're seeing Ethereum copy Bitcoin's biggest feature, which is their deflationary monetary policy. Now, the only difference between the two is the proof of work and proof of stake. And right now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about that because I know not a lot of viewers that watch my videos understand what that means. So I'm going to start with proof of work because essentially this is what Bitcoin uses. So the miners are actually using a lot of computational power to mine Bitcoin. And how that works is that the computers are actually solving very complicated puzzles, and whoever kind of solves it the fastest gets rewarded with a Bitcoin. And other nodes have to confirm that, this computer solved the puzzle correctly, and then they are rewarded. Now remember, I saw a tweet somewhere and it explained it very clearly for beginners, so I'm going to say it here. So think of a running car spitting out solved Sudoku puzzles, and then you can trade those Sudoku puzzles for Bitcoin. And that's essentially how Bitcoin mining works, and this is pretty much what you call proof of work. Now Ethereum, on the other hand, uses proof of stake. So proof of stake is pretty much mining with the amount of stake that you already have of Ethereum, but instead of being rewarded Ethereum, you're actually collecting fees. The more Ethereum you have, the more chances you're going to validate the next block in the blockchain. And the advantage of this is actually the energy consumption that it uses, which is why proof of work uses a lot of energy because it's based on how much computer power you have. And now you're seeing all these miners trying to make it more green and trying to, impress Elon Musk. But yeah, it's pretty much just the surface. I'm not going to go too deep into it because, I can talk about DeFi, smart contracts, and dApps, but I'm going to save this all for another video. Now we're going to get into the next article, and Biden wants to kind of increase tax rates, and it could be the highest in the developed world. So Joe Biden wants to propose a top federal tax rate of 39.6% on long-term capital gains and qualified dividends. So obviously no one likes taxes, but I think that this is a way for Uncle Sam to kind of get back the money that they printed in the last 14 months. And now they're pretty much just targeting people with investments. And in my opinion, this whole thing is just going to widen the wealth gap even further, because because a lot of millennials have been getting into investing lately, and this is going to hurt them even more, especially with this tax increase. Right now, I believe that this generation could be the last generation that actually retires, because if rent prices and also home prices just keep going up at an alarming rate, essentially no one's going to be retiring. So right now they're trying to target the 0.3%. However, if these wealthy individuals don't sell their assets, and essentially they're not going to trigger a taxable event. But right now there's just a proposal and it's not confirmed yet. So if this does all happen, the US is going to increase it from 29% to 48.6%. And this is going to be really dangerous for anyone that's in growth stocks. So if I was a growth investor, you're going to see me kind of move to Korea, because they have 0% in capital gains tax. And on the other hand, for dividends, essentially it's going to be the same rate at 48.6%. And the dividend investors are not going to like this, especially Warren Buffett, because he loves dividends. And if I were a dividend investor, you're going to see me in Latvia. Alright, those are a really great place to move to, especially if you're a dividend investor, right? So let's talk about Bitcoin, because what kind of video is this gonna be without Bitcoin, right? So yesterday I said that we're gonna probably see a downward move below $30,000, and lo and behold, it actually happened, because this morning we saw Bitcoin drop to about $29,000, and it just gives me more conviction that the big players are in right now. And yesterday I talked about the Wyckoff accumulation model, and pretty much this is where the big boys would kind of try to shake out the paper hands, because they're trying to get rich off fair. And like I said yesterday, we're kind of at this level here, we just call it the spring, and usually the spring would actually go lower than the previous low back here, which was about $30,000. So we did see a lower low today, which is great, because it's exactly playing out like I kind of expected it to be. Obviously, technical analysis aren't always 100% correct, but my conviction on this has never been more higher than before. So logically speaking, if anyone bought it at this dip right here at $45,000 and they didn't sell at $65,000, what makes it an even better idea to sell it at $28,000? It really doesn't make sense to me, right? And I feel like investing has a lot of psychology in it, because the more fearful you are, you're gonna get chopped up in this type of market. So if we look at the crypto fear and greed index, right now is at a 10, which is super low. And the famous quote by Warren Buffett: be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. So if we look at this chart here, when it was at about $65,000, it was very greedy. It was almost at the peak at 100, right? But now we're seeing one of the biggest dips ever in crypto history, and right now it's at a 10. And the last time we saw this index at this very low point was back in March 2020, which was when the pandemic happened. So like I said, this is probably the best time for anyone that really wants to get into it. And I'm not saying this because I'm very biased about it, but I hear a lot of people always talking about how they all missed the train and all that. I do believe the train will be leaving again soon. I'm very confident with that. Now I just want to bring up this article as well, because yesterday there was a key level at 31,500, and yesterday we closed right above it, meaning a lot of orders are put right there. So today we saw that downward move, but now we're at about $32,000, and the crypto market closes on 8 p.m. Eastern time. So right now we should try to close at above $32,000. Now the last article here is about the Bitcoin mining getting banned in China, and there was a lot of thoughts that came after I did the video, and I just want to address it here today. So this type of news is very important, because China is pretty much increasing their stance on banning crypto. So they're essentially trying to push the digital yuan, which is their own digital currency, and this gives them even more power to control their own economy, because they want to rule their land with sovereignty, right? And this also means that a lot of Chinese citizens aren't able to buy Bitcoin. However, it is no different than what they're currently doing. And for those that don't know, right now there's currently a black market for rich millionaires to kind of switch their yuan dollars to other currencies like the US dollar. And China actually puts a limit on that, because they want their citizens to own nothing than yuan. And China is like building walls around their citizens so they can't see anything beyond that, which is why you might hear a lot of rich Asian Bitcoin's coming to, North America and buying property, because essentially they're trying to diversify their assets, right? And this is all financial literacy 101. China is basically a country that no one trusts, right? And the same goes for Uncle Sam, because they've been printing trillions of dollars in the last 14 months. And they're printing out of thin air, which widens the wealth gap. So all in all, to me, this fits in the narrative of what Bitcoin's meant to be, which is a non-sovereign currency. It just shows how much we need sound money in this world, and if you don't know what sound money is, you can Google it. But yeah, in the end, Bitcoin is a digital scarce asset that kind of speaks to me very deeply, because the purpose of it is so strong, and the TAM is unbelievable. I find it very funny that a lot of bears are right now kind of, hopping on the train of saying how Bitcoin's going to zero, but when it's up, majority of them are silent. So it is what it is. That wraps it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm, and if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe so you can see my videos every single week. Also, if you're interested in buying crypto, click my referral links in the description box down below, and we can both get a small cash bonus once you sign up and make some trades. That's pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.